Yes, it's the first Thursday in what is turning out to be a very wet August, of course, in a beautiful nation, Nigeria. And we're here to make the morning even better for you. Welcome to your perfect morning starter right here on Channels Television. I am Bukola Koka.
And I'm Karadoki Kulu. Let's get started, shall we? What a week it's turning out to be, particularly with the rain. So if you're going out in Lagos today, yes, the rains may end early morning, but you never know what to expect, particularly with the advisory. NIMET had given an advisory of rains and thunderstorms for this week, so please just be on guard. And for areas that are low-lying, please take caution. I know it's one of the most uncomfortable things to do if you have to move temporarily, but it's better than just putting your lives in danger. But so far, the rains are calming down, at least for today. But you never know with the rains.
And besides, you know, taking precaution as far as the weather is concerned, you may also want to add to that checking your vehicles and, you know, driving with extreme caution amid the rains. The ground is even more slippery, and of course visibility is poor, particularly when you're setting out early in the morning. So check your engine, your radiator, your tires. You might also want to do all of that perhaps a few hours before you set out because of the rush of the morning. Very, very important advisory as we travel amid a rainy August. But we're not talking about the rains alone this morning.
Sort of, because some people defied the rains in Abuja now, yesterday, in protest. In spite of the fact that it was pouring down, the Abure-led group in the Labour Party took to the streets, and there you have it. You can see the road was wet, it had rained, it was still drizzling at some point, even rained, and they see them arm in arm protesting on the streets of the nation's capital, Abuja. They in fact went to the national headquarters of Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. Why were they protesting? Well, the placards tell the story, who can just help you make sense of it. They were protesting against the omission of candidates' names for the upcoming elections. That's the by-elections. And they're saying, well, it should be the names of the candidates submitted by the Abure-led Labour Party that will be published by the INEC for, of course, the upcoming National Assembly by-elections. So they're saying INEC should respect the rule of law, INEC should not kill. Can't see that line, really, but you get a sense of why they're protesting and chanting those songs, Bukola.
Yes, indeed. Well, I believe you've mentioned it already that the Abure-led group has given the electoral umpires 7 days to review its decision not to publish names of its candidate in the FCT area council election and, of course, in the by-elections. So we'll wait and see, you know, how this turns out. If you check the INEC website, you would see the reflection of the name of Julius Abure as the national chairman. But you would see, you know, a sort of proviso right beside that by court order, and of course the name of another executive reflected on the party's on the electoral umpire's website. But of course, added that to that as well is by court order. So that is really at the heart of the challenge of the Labour Party. The leadership crisis is what is responsible for this confusion as far as its participation in the coming elections are concerned. But what we're yet to see now is a consistency in the disposition of the electoral umpire at the, well, let's say now state electoral umpire and the electoral umpire at the national level in its disposition towards the management of elections, or as the case may be, Labour Party's participation, because when you consider the local government election in Lagos, last year is said to have recognized or published the names of a particular group of the Labour Party, but in this coming election, INEC has not published. So we want to see a consistency consistency in the electoral umpire's disposition towards the leadership challenge of the Labour Party. There may need to be more meetings in the coming days in order to, resolve this leadership crisis such that the party will be better positioned to participate in the coming elections.
There you have it. I think this is something that leaves a very bad taste in the mouth. The fact that the Labour Party has one leadership that is headed by, or one group headed by Julius Abure, the interim leadership headed by Senator Nadi Usman. By the way, they put out a statement distancing themselves from this protest and saying, well, INEC cannot accept an illegitimate list. It really isn't what we want. We even asked Mr. Arabambi and Mr. Obirai for which of them is the publicity secretary, and both of them said they are. And then you still have the Nadi Usman group having a spokesperson. This is not how political parties should be run in Nigeria. So while we'll see how that plays out, because INEC gave a response, we'll see if that will change anything, if it's material enough. The chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has been speaking. Took some days, though, some time to get that response. But here's what Mr. Olaolukoyede said. He has denied forcing the NNPCL boss to resign. You may recall Monday news filtering around that the NNPC Limited boss may have resigned. Has not been resigned. Some said he was abducted by the EFCC. Just different rumors flying around. But just moments after that, we saw the NNPCL head CEO actually attending an event. That's Mr. Bayo Ojulari. So that again made people think, okay, he hasn't resigned clearly. But fast forward to yesterday, the EFCC in a statement through its spokesperson, Mr. Dele Oyewale, faulted the online reports that said he allegedly abducted Mr. Ojulari and forced him to resign in Abuja. The things you hear, Bukola, it's just quite shocking to see that particular report. So.
I understand your discomfort with that particular report, Kadi. Speaking of which...
It doesn't mean it's not possible.
It doesn't...
Things happen.
It doesn't mean it's not possible. Yeah. But, it's important also... I'm going to borrow the words of the president now, that we... verify before we amplify. If you have read the report, you would see that indeed the online medium is quoting that it sought confirmation from Mr. Bayo Ojulari, but didn't get one. Yeah. But unless I didn't read it all through, but I'm sure I did by over 90%. I didn't quite see the same in application to seeking confirmation from the chairman of the EFCC, who is also quoted in that report. And, it's difficult to conclude that indeed the event cited in that report is a cock and bull story. I'm not saying that it's true, and I'm not saying it's not true. Speaking of which, the EFCC boss has, according to that report, instructed his lawyers to demand an apology and a retraction of that report by that online newspaper, failing which they will be served a defamation suit. The last I checked, the report hasn't been taken down yet. So it's just important that we get the one side to the story, the second side to the story, and in fact the third and the fourth sides to the story as journalists, such that we don't run into these landmines of lawsuits and defamation suits, and we can now stand by our story. But that is the position of the EFCC boss. He says it's not true, and in fact it casts him in a bad light as an individual who cannot earn public trust. And of course we must also take into cognizance his reservations about the story.
It's been a while I heard that term, cock and bull. Thank you for bringing it back. It's been a while. But it's a sad one that we move on to next from Ghana. And President Bola Tinubu has actually extended his deepest condolences to President John Mahama, the government, and the people of Ghana following the helicopter crash that claimed the lives of Defense Minister Edward Omani Boma, Environment Minister Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed, and 6 others. And then you see the remains being conveyed from an aircraft yesterday in Ghana, draped in the Ghanaian flag. The country is in mourning right now, losing 2 members of cabinet and 6 others. It's a really sad one. Bukola, they died in a helicopter crash. From what we understand, just after it took off, it was missing from the radar, and they got word that it had crashed.
Yeah, it's really a very sad one to lose key members of the government, and not just key members of the government. The crew members, according to reports, have been identified as Squadron Leader Peter Bafemi Anala, Flying Officer Mane Twum Ampandu, and Sergeant Ernest Ado Mensa. Other victims include former Ashanti Regional Minister Samuel Sarpong, Alhaji Muniru Mohammed, Acting Deputy National Security Coordinator Samuel Abuage, a former NDC parliamentary candidate, and Dr. Samuel Sarpong, Vice Chairman of the NDC. I believe that's the ruling party in Ghana. Just our own neighboring West African country here. We identify with Ghana, and at this point we send our condolences. This is a very sad one, and we hope that this does not happen again, and that airspaces become safer, always for people to fly, such that lives are not cut short right in the very middle, as these ones have been cut short in their prime. As they, by the way, they were in service to the nation when this helicopter crash occurred. Once again, we condole with Ghana. It's a very sad one. It
is, Bukola, because these 2 ministers are very vital.
Yeah.
When you talk about defense, you know how important that is. In fact, the Deputy National Security Coordinator was also on that helicopter that crashed. And, the Environment Minister particularly was at the helm as the country battles a scourge of illegal, informal gold mining that has ravaged farmlands and contaminated water. It's in fact called Galamsey in Ghana. So there are lots of things to be unraveled here to just really know what was behind this. But investigation is on, and we'll be bringing you the results as soon as they come in. But once again, our hearts go out to the government of Ghana, the people, and the family members of those who died in that helicopter crash. Well, let's tell you what more we have on the program today. Just days ago, we had a lot of debate around Mr. Peter Obi, the financial situation, the spendings, and the one-term proposal from Mr. Peter Obi. But particularly what got a lot of people talking is the claims by Mr. Arabambi that monies were gotten for Mr. Peter Obi's campaign. The monies did not come to the party. Lots of claims he put out. And today we get a response from someone who's been following the money, and we get to ask those questions right here on the show.
And that's not all on the program today. We're also going to be looking at our own airspace. The Civil Aviation Authority has suspended pilots, belonging to Value Jet over a safety breach. And of course, videos came through yesterday showing a very popular, performing artist in what has been identified as a safety breach yesterday. And the, FAN, the Federal Aviation Authority, is also investigating that. So we're going to be zeroing in on these issues, the arising issues. Of course, very critical questions come through from this one. How, if indeed he was found with a substance that was not supposed to be flown with, how did he get through all of the checks to the aircraft area? So those questions will be asked about that event, and of course the concern about the safety of our airspace this morning as we look at the event of the last 48 hours.
Oh yes, and we head over to Rivers State in South Nigeria. Yes, the governor is still suspended, but guess what? There's a local government election that is scheduled to hold on August the 30th, and a lot of people have described it as illegal. Some say, well, government has to go on. But what's even very intriguing is, I mean, the list of candidates who will be participating in that election. Oh yes, politics is not for the faint-hearted. But we'll dig deeper into the upcoming Rivers election and the politics of it on the program this morning.
Yes, indeed. So it's a packed show from the beginning to the very end. We'll take a moment now. When we return, it'll be time to look at the papers. And of course, our guest is here already to give us those insights. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
So let's dig right in, shall we? We have Mr. Dayo Akintobi joining us in our Lagos studio, a public affairs analyst. Mr. Akintobi, always great to have you, sir.
Good morning to you. Good morning to all our viewers.
Good morning. So Vanguard newspaper, Mr. Akintobi, is where we start off this morning, and it's 2027 yet again, and you see options before the North. That's how Vanguard leads. Faces tough choice over Tinubu. But guess what? Jonathan is also in the mix. Atiku, Obi, Amechi. Let's start with Jonathan Fit. Please, why is former President Goodluck Jonathan back in this mix? Is there any data, any sort of information that points to that for you?
It's funny that we've come all the way full circle from being the most clueless government that Nigeria has had to all of a sudden him being the beautiful bride in the upcoming 2027 elections. And what's really driving this move is the fact that the North is looking at which candidate to back that will be most beneficial to the North's self-interest.
I'm sorry, which of the Norths? Is it the North, West, North?
North as
East,
a monolith. North as a monolith, the northern interest. Remember, Nigerian politics is basically on that rotational system divided into North versus South. We don't micro-divide. And the North as an entity is looking at it and saying that to unseat President Tinubu, the best bet is likely to be a Southern candidate based on this rotational principle that the South has another 4 years to go after this term. Now, the idea for the North is how quickly can it come back to us? If a Peter Obi gets in, despite his assurance that he'll only do one term, what happens after 4 years when he says, oh, my constituents, the people say I'm doing well, they want me to go again. But a President Goodluck Jonathan is constitutionally restricted to one more term. So he's a safer bet to back by the North, because if he comes in, the North is guaranteed to come back in 2031, versus if an Obi or an Amechi, who are coming in for the first time, they could theoretically go 8 years, which means they won't come back to the North till 2035. So this is enlightened self-interest at play. What is the fastest way for power to devolve back to the North is to back Goodluck Jonathan. And apparently there's been quite a bit of consultations and a bit of talk. And I remember a short while ago, his wife, Patience Jonathan, said there was no possibility that he was coming back. But I understand he's been having consultations. He's met, I think, with IBB. He's met with stakeholders in the PDP. And I understand he's actually giving it some serious thought, and I won't be surprised if we see him throw his hat in the ring as one of the candidates for the PDP for the nomination for the presidential ticket in 2027.
I thought the North loves President Bola Tinubu. Whatever happened to that love?
Well, that seems to be a marriage gone sour in 2 short years, because yes, they did give him their backing in 2023, but they have some grievances. They say his appointments have been lopsided. They say his distribution of projects have been unfair and skewed, and that he's brought all of Lagos into his cabinet and his ministerial appointments, and that he's given short shrift to the North. Whether it is true, I mean, the administration has come back and tried to show data that their appointments have been balanced, their distribution of funds and projects have been equitable across the zones, but the North still has it in its head that they've been treated relatively unfairly by this administration, and there's no love lost between them at the moment, and they'd rather see somebody else there than for this administration to come back.
And it seems former President Goodluck Jonathan appears to be a beautiful bride yet again. But what happened to that commentary about the constitutional eligibility of a former president? You know, when he was president, he had served the concluding 2 years, I believe, of his principal, late Umaru Musa Yar'Adua, and then he got an additional term. You know, at the time in 2022-2023, that was the commentary. So it seems, I don't know what it looks like for you, that, you know, these political juggernauts may have developed some form of amnesia about that concern about his eligibility. Well,
that's still an issue that needs to be litigated, but there's just a relatively ambiguous section of the Constitution that requires Supreme Court interpretation, and it simply says if you've taken the oath of office twice, you can't run again. So the question that needs answering is, when he completed President Yar'Adua's term, took the oath, does that constitute a term for him, or was it still President Yar'Adua's term that he was completing? If that's the case, if it's interpreted to be that he just completed President Yar'Adua's term, then he himself has actually only done one term. I think there will still be some jurisprudence around that, some litigation to clarify. See, the Constitution is a very general document. It can't address every aspect of human behavior. There are things that are occurring now that were never foreseen when the Constitution was written. Look at when President Yar'Adua died, and President Jonathan was in limbo because President Yar'Adua didn't hand over to him. Constitution didn't anticipate that happening. Or look at even the situation in Kogi, whereby a governor had been elected and died before he was sworn in. So who now becomes the substantive governor-elect? Is it his running mate, or is it the person who was second in the election? That required constitutional interpretation by the authorities, which is the Supreme Court, is the ultimate arbiter of such constitutional questions. So there's a lot of ambiguity in the Constitution. It's written in very general terms. And when we get to issues that were not anticipated by the Constitution, it now requires that we sit down and we interpret them. And I think this is what will happen when it comes to President Jonathan's legality of running a second or a third term, according to whoever's looking at it. From where I sit, I think he has the legal right to run again. Well,
we're not quite done with former President Jonathan, apparently. As we go to Leadership newspaper, it's also focusing on this former leader. Take a look at the front page. Corrupt politicians being given top government positions, as described to M.S. Sanusi. But the real big story is this one. Jonathan chickened out of reforming PDP, a new book. I believe that's the book launch of former national chairman of the People's Democratic Party, Chief Uche Secondus. There were, of course, so many other issues raised in that book, but the leadership chooses to look at this. But should the responsibility really be placed on the doorstep of former President Goodluck Jonathan alone, when you consider the founding fathers of the PDP, you know, their weight and their contributions and their standing in the Nigerian political landscape? And we could begin to mention a lot of them, but amid this crisis, we haven't seen them rise to the occasion.
Truth be told, even though the president or the highest office holder in any political structure is viewed as the leader, the truth is there's actually a separation between a political party and an administration. That is why a political party has its own EXCO, has its own NECO, has its own national working committee. The political party is supposed to administer itself independent of its members who are in power. There should be minimal interference from its administrations from its members that are in positions of authority in terms of how the party is run. In actual fact, it should be the other way around. It's the party that should be dictating to its representatives at whatever level, whether at local council level, state government house, presidency. It's the party that should be making sure that its members maintain fidelity to the party's manifesto, because The president is in that office at the behest of the party. So he is beholden and loyal to the party. But the way it's come now is that our presidents are so all-powerful that the assumption is that they control the apron strings of the party. They should be the ones dictating what happens in the party and how the party is run. So the accusation that President Jonathan didn't restructure the party, I don't think it was his remit to do that to begin with. I think rather the party should have been the one teleguiding him and saying, you're not maintaining truthfulness to our manifesto, to our philosophy. You are veering off the beaten path. You need to get back and reorient yourself. The party should be a compass for what its members are doing in office and keeping them on the straight and narrow. So I think Uche Secondos, he had a very turbulent reign as the chairman of the PDP during his time. I've resolved to read the book he has written so that there's better insight on what actually were the internal wranglings during his stay in office. But I think President Goodluck Jonathan, by his nature, there are some other leaders who are powerful and who are forceful, who, whether overtly or covertly, would actually be restructuring the party behind the scenes. But President Goodluck Jonathan never had that nature. It was not in his personality to do so, and he just went there and paid attention to what he was elected to do.
And there's a tribute on the front page of Leadership to late Doyin Abiola, Nigerian journalist who's the wife of MKO Abiola, publisher as well. Even the president had paid tributes to her. Former colleagues in Concord, Tele Alake, Awoyinfa, additional paid tributes. Family to bring remains home from China. It's a page 7 read. Perhaps a lot of young people who didn't grow up in newspapers may not have known her, or definitely not have read her column far back, but a lot of people know the work that she did, and that's why you see that on the front page of the Leadership newspaper. New Telegraph is next, and I don't think this will shock some people, but it's important to mention it, and it's from the EFCC chairman saying many abandoned estates in Abuja owned not by politicians, not by billionaires, but by civil servants. But there's more, Mr. Akintobi. Civil servants who stole public funds. Are you shocked?
No, I'm not at all.
But we should be shocked.
We should be shocked. We're inured to shock. We're so used to these kind of stories now that nothing shocks us anymore. But what I find more distressing is that rather than come out and say these things, who have you arrested? Well, who have you prosecuted? So you know that this is the situation. What have you done about it? We hear a lot of talk, a lot of we will do this, we will do that, and this is what's happening. But it's not matched with action. I would rather have that story with the headline, say 254 estates have been seized from the civil servants we've identified, not just coming to tell us that we know. So but what have you done about it? I mean, everybody in Nigeria knows that the civil service is layered with corruption, even more so than the political appointees. We're aware of how it happens and what's going on. Matter of fact, the scuttlebutt is that it is the civil servants who actually teach the politicians when they get into office how to siphon and divert the funds. So the civil service is clearly riddled with corruption, we know. But efforts are always underway to address it, to arrest it, to circumvent it. But there seems to be more talk than actual action, because this, to me, is a lot of huff and puff. And after this, then what? After this, then what? What's going to happen to all the estates? And here they're saying they're unoccupied, which means that it's just a conduit for parking illicit funds. You see that all over the place, where you have massive structures and residential and commercial property that's empty. And you ask yourself, who's occupied? Where's the capacity for all of this infrastructure. And it suddenly occurs to you that this is just illicit money finding a place to park itself where it won't lose value, because there is no capacity to occupy all those places. They are out of the reach of the average man to afford. It's not that we don't have the population to occupy them, but how many Nigerians can afford to live in, to rent any of those apartments in these particular estates? So they lie empty. And you ask yourself, who can afford, if you legitimately borrowed money from the bank to build this thing, or your own savings that could be accruing interest in a bank, and your city is sitting empty for so long, you didn't do your feasibility studies to know if there was a market for it, if people could afford to rent it. So when you see these kind of things, you know it's a big white elephant that's hiding illicit money. And where's the illicit money coming from, if not from government coffers? So yes, clearly, it's money that was stolen, the Commonwealth that was stolen, but the EFCC should not just come and press conference all the time. This particular leadership of the administration seems to like being in front of the cameras and seems to like to talk quite a bit. I prefer an EFCC that we see its actions and we don't hear from that much.
Absolutely. It's important for the war against corruption. If Jeffrey were here, he would say, go after those who steal Nigeria's money, whether they're civil servants or whether they're even elected public officials. And we're waiting, for the outcomes of investigations of politically exposed persons. Yes. And we could mention a few of them. But let's go to this Nigeria. This Nigeria focuses on where we started from on the program. Black Wednesday in Ghana. 2 ministers, 6 others die in helicopter crash. President Mahama calls it national tragedy, grief all over. Of course, it's been a black last 24 hours in Ghana, and the reports are to the effect that the last time a plane crash occurred of this nature was in 2014, and there was one before 2012. This surely raises concern about the airspace in Ghana.
Not just in Ghana, but in sub-Saharan Africa generally. There was even an incident at an airport in Nigeria yesterday where a major accident was narrowly averted, where people could have gotten injured. So I think generally in these climes, we're probably a little bit too lackadaisical about safety. May the souls of the people in Ghana, the 8 people that passed away, may their souls rest in peace. Clearly it's going to destabilize the government quite a bit, because those were 2 key ministers with key portfolios. So yes, the nation has been dealt a severe blow. The nation is in mourning, and it'll take a bit for them to restructure and begin to try and overcome the loss. But it just speaks to the fact that a lot more attention, a lot more resources, a lot more training needs to be invested in the aviation sector. It is a sector that doesn't forgive error. The slightest little error, you pay the ultimate penalty. So there's all the more reason why extra care and extra diligence should be paid to this. I saw the Minister for Aviation in Nigeria the other day on television talking about renovating the Murtala Mohammed Airport and spending, that the FEC approved so many 100 billion for the renovation. And through it all, I didn't hear much about safety. All I heard about was convenience, aesthetics, gateway to Nigeria in terms of national pride, but safety is the primary concern. I would have been happy if I heard that we're putting up a new radar station to monitor weather. I would have been happy to hear that we now have a new air traffic control tower. Yeah, he talked about expanding the apron so that wide-body planes can park closer, and issues of checking your bags. You don't have to go through the lift to the top floor with your bags. He talked about a lot of things that were more convenience related, but I think greater priority should be given to safety, and we can see that from these 2 incidents, the one in Nigeria yesterday and the one in Ghana, that a lot more attention needs to be paid to aviation safety.
Especially when you see that it was a Ghana Air Force helicopter.
Absolutely.
You expect that should be the safest.
Absolutely.
In that sense.
Yes.
But it's a really sad one, and yes. Once again, our hearts go to Ghana on this very sad one. And just to mention that Mr. Moyele Showore had been, as we understand, invited by the police and is being detained. From what we hear, we understand that perhaps some sort of order had been gotten from the police to keep him prior to that. There's just a lot in the mix, but it's important for the police to come out and speak to the true situation of Mr. Omoyele Sowore. A lot of Nigerians saw him protesting in support of the police, retired police personnel. And even a lot of people in the police would tell you that they support that protest, because when they retire, they don't want to be given paltry sums and told to go home after serving their nation. So it's quite interesting to see the same police detaining him. So it's important for the police to come out and clear things out. Let us know the true state of Mr. Omoyele Sowore. The last time he put out a statement was hours ago, and that's very unusual because he's very, very
garrulous,
consistent when it comes to putting out posts online. But Mr. Akintobi, it's interesting to see, but we have to thank you so much for always coming to shed more light on the big stories.
It's always a pleasure to be here.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We'll go on a break now, and when we return, the Labour Party conversation is next. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, and we start off our conversation this morning with politics. Of course, we'll put it in context. Days ago, we had one of the publicity secretaries, national publicity secretaries of the party, Mr. Abayomi Arabambi, on the program, and he spoke to quite a number of events that transpired in the party ahead of the 2023 presidential election. Actually, he was responding to Mr. Peter Obi, the presidential candidate of the party at the time, doubling down on his single-term presidency commitment should he be elected. But he went ahead to talk about other things, as he said, or he alleged that Mr. Peter Obi cannot be trusted, and then he talked about how he spent only 32 million for the party at that time. That he also alleged that Mr. Peter Obi didn't pay, what do they call them now? Party agents, amongst other things that he said. So we have the treasurer of the party now to come and speak to some of these allegations and indeed clarify them or debunk them. Let's have Mrs. Oluchi Okpara, former national treasurer of the Labour Party, who joins us virtually from Lagos. Mrs. Okpara, thank you so much for joining us on the morning brief.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. How are you doing this morning? Good morning to you too.
Yes, it's good to have you on the show.
Thank you.
You know, I've pretty much trailed some of the things that Mr. Arabambi said. So would like to hear your own account of these spendings according to Mr. Arabambi. Was this how exactly that it happened?
Yeah, I want to start off by saying that I wouldn't know why people would leave the bus that farted to now start hitting the head that just that hasn't done anything wrong. You know, I've not also seen a situation whereby a thief goes to an empty house to steal. And I've not also seen a situation whereby people throw stones at trees without fruits. They can only throw stones to trees with fruits. Peter Obi is a man that anybody, for instance, if you got another interview without mentioning Mr. Peter Obi's name, that the same Arabambi should write an interview without mentioning Mr. Peter Obi's name, check the followers, check the viewers, and check the coverage it's going to have. But by the mention of Mr. Peter Obi, you will see it's going to have a lot of coverage. So I think a lot of people are using his name just to chase clout and again feel more important in the scheme of things. Mr. Peter Obi fulfilled every righteousness financially towards the Labour Party. There was never a time he asked for a dime from the party, unlike other political parties would do. In fact, let me shock Nigerians that everything that we did, every program we had, because the party had no money, he brought a lot of fortune to the party. The party was down, but it did not have anything at all. It was the influx of people, the grace that followed Mr. Peter Obi to the Labour Party, that made us have a lot of finances to tackle all our debt. Because before Mr. Peter Obi came to the party was owing a lot of debt. We were running into debt. We could not pay salaries. We could not pay our lawyers. We could not pay our office at Gariki. Go to our former office at number 29 Okawe Street. We owed that man, the landlord, for over 2 years. We could not pay. We were only able to pay those things when Mr. Peter Obi came into the party. So I'm wondering why people will sit and want to just make themselves very relevant by mentioning Mr. Peter Obi's name. Let let me tell us here again that we are also able to move into a bigger apartment at Otako, all thanks to Mr. Peter. Even though some persons, some cronies, we are now able to inflict the rent. We moved into a bigger office, we furnished out all those offices, we paid our debts, we paid our lawyers, we did everything needed of us to do. All thanks to Mr. Peter, because a lot of people followed him to the party. Mr. Peter paid everything due to him. Every obligation to the party, he fulfilled all righteousness. So people should stop peddling his name. He is not the president of Nigeria. People should learn how to channel their grievances to the right voters and stop leaving Mr. Peter and leave Mr. Peter out of their mouths. Honestly, it does not make sense to me anymore. It doesn't make sense. People should learn how to hold this EFCC government accountable for their failed government and leave Mr. Peter be alone. It's not in government.
But madam, according to Mr. Rabambi, Mrs. Aisha Yesufu and the governorship candidate of the PDP who was supporting your principal at the time were the signatories to the accounts. They were the ones that managed the accounts. And according to him, they got a lot of donations, even from the diaspora, to support the ambition of your principal in 2023. But he's saying that they are not members of your National Working Committee, and the spendings of the presidential election should have been handled by members of your National Working Committee. You are the treasurer. I'd like you to speak to this part of his argument.
Okay, let me state here that every person that wants to run for any political appointment, any political office, is entitled to having a campaign office solely for that event. But there was never a time Mr. Peter came to us asking us for money. Every money he used to run for his presidential ambition, he had a presidential account for that. And he had Aisha Yusufu and others. And Aisha has been woman enough to come out public to tender account. And that same account was what I have been asking Mr. Joseph Abuja to come out and tender account. So there is nothing wrong with anyone having a campaign account to champion all his campaigns. Nothing wrong with that. And it must not be run by a political party. No, it mustn't. He has to get people that he trusts to do that for him. And I also heard where someone was talking about agents not being paid. No, I listened to Aisha Yusuf when she came public. She said that names given to her to pay as agents were fake people. They were fake names, so there was no way she could have continued. People talking about Mr. Peter diverting the party's fund. I won't challenge them. This Labour Party that we're talking about, some persons opened an unauthorized account with First Bank, with which they used to defraud people of their millions. People paid interest in that, and yet those people some persons are aware of this. Yet they can't even come out to say this in public. Yet you see them trying to throw a stone at Mr. Peter. It doesn't make sense to me. Doesn't make sense to me. They should come out and tender their own account. Aisha has done that. They should come out and tender their own accounts.
So indeed, you say that you agree that Mr. Peter Obi didn't spend more than 32 million naira in the Labour Party, which is what he used to purchase his form. That was
Sorry,
what
can
Mr.
you speak up a bit? I can't hear you.
Can you hear me? Hello, madam, can you hear me? Okay.
Speak up a bit, please.
Yes, I am speaking up a bit. Can you hear me? Okay, we might need to resolve your audio, but let me just try and put my question through. Are you confirming that indeed Mr. Peter Obi did not spend more than 32 million naira for the Labour Party?
If I got you correctly, I want to state here that if there is anything of such, if Mr. Peter Obi ever tampered with the party's finances, do you think that this APC government would have left him? They would have made a mess of his name. Okay, they would have embarrassed him if there was anything of such on Mr. Peter Obi.
Let me take this again. Let me take this again, Mrs. Opara. I hope you can hear me clearly now. Oh dear.
Sorry?
Never mind. We'll try to fix that situation. But just to be clear, my question is about what Mr. Rabambi said. Mr. Peter Obi did not spend more than 32 million naira. That's all that came from Mr. Peter Obi to the party, nothing more. So that's what I'm asking you to confirm. I'm not speaking to the issue you were responding to.
There was nothing of such. Mr. Peter Obi never spent any money meant for the party. In fact, he donated to the party. In fact, he lifted the party from zero level to where the party is today. He never spent any money meant for the party. No, there was nothing like that. I can speak to the treasurer.
If you can hear me, that's
I
what
can hear you now,
he's
yes.
asking. He's asking you to confirm Mr. Arabambi's position that Mr. Peter Obi didn't spend more than 32 million naira for the Labour Party. He didn't commit more than 32 million naira to the Labour Party out of all of the donations that he received. Is that true? Is that correct?
First of all, you have a statutory amount fixed for every office you want to vie for. Mr. Peter Obi met every requirement required of him, and he even donated to the party. So I am here to speak, to say that I have every right to speak on this issue. Mr. Arabambi does not have any rights. He doesn't even know what happens with the accounts. No, he didn't do that. In fact, he even went overboard. He helped us, helped the party.
So how much did Mr. Peter Obi spend for the Labour Party?
I spent a lot of money for the Labour Party. We had programs. We had programs which Mr. Peter Obi solely financed by himself. But a lot of things that happened. Mr. Peter Obi spends from his personal money because the Labour Party did not have any dime. We didn't have any money.
Can you give us, an estimation of the figure? Is it below 32 million or above? Since you are the treasurer.
He's above. He spent a lot of money. He spent a lot of money above.
Would you be willing to provide an audited account of his spendings? It's just to put it in proper perspective, or such that we can either confirm or debunk Mr. Arabambi's position.
So what I'm trying to tell you now, that I'm the right person to state this. I might not have the exact amounts as like handy like this, but I am telling you that Mr. Peter Obi met up every requirement needed of him as a candidate of the party, and he even did more than expected of him.
Okay, so help us understand how the money flowed. This has been a contention that refuses to go away. So Mr. Obi got donations for his presidential run. Am I correct?
Of course.
Fantastic. Do you have an idea?
We also had an account opened by from the Labour Party. We had an account that we used to solicit for funds from general public, which at that time I made a video asking people to come and help with what we are doing. Unfortunately, we are now unable to even render account to the public of what those monies were used for. We have not even done it till tomorrow.
So when you say we, is it the Labour Party or Mr. Peter Obi, the obedient movement, that opened that account?
I don't know why I'm not able to hear you, honestly. I don't know why.
The connection is playing a fast one. I say, when you say we opened an account, is it the Labour Party that opened the account, or the obedient, that's Mr. Peter Obi, Aisha Yusufu, that opened that account?
Could it be your microphone? If she would be nice enough to ask the question, I don't know if it's from your microphone. I can't hear you. I can barely hear you.
Right.
Sorry.
No, we're going to try to sort that out. So when he's asking that, when you say we opened an account, are you saying that it's the Labour Party that opened the account, or the obedient movement that worked for the presidential campaign of Mr. Peter Obi that opened the account?
Okay, we had our own campaign account opened in the name of the Labour Party. And the campaign also have their own accounts open, because it is their right to have a campaign account with which they want to run their campaigns with. So even the one who opened in the name of Labour Party till today, I had a video I made that year asking people to put in their small token. We have not also been able to tender account of what happened to those monies collected from people. So we had our own accounts. The campaign also had their own accounts. So
you're saying now that Mr. Peter Obi's campaign team had the right to open their own account. By that, you're confirming. You can debunk this, but you seem to be confirming Mr. Arabambi's position that he got donations from everywhere, especially from the diaspora. He quoted to us here yesterday thousands of dollars donated from different states, particularly in the United States. Now, if that is the position that they had the right to open their own account, why then was there pressure on Mr. Julius Abure to give account? If you're saying that the Labour Party didn't have money at the time, what would he be given account for? Is it the funds that you received into the Labour Party?
You were breaking, but if I heard it correctly, I want to say that everybody who is running for any position, any office, has every right to open an account with which he wants to pursue his campaign. Okay, and we also, as Labour Party, will also open an account. I'm not here to confirm whatever Arababi or anyone has said, but I am telling you what is obtainable, that if you're running for any position, you have every account with trusted people that you could trust with money to come and control those accounts for you. And Aisha Yusufu and another person was in charge of that account. And I remember vividly that Aisha Yusufu came out public to render accounts of how those monies were spent. And we have not done that as Labour Party. We have not.
So I'm going to ask that again. Why then was there pressure on Mr. Julius Abure to give account of spendings of Labour Party funds if majority of the funds went to accounts of the campaign council?
If there was a pressure from Mr. Abure
on Mr. Abure to give account of spendings of the Labour Party. You know, there were allegations against him on mismanagement of funds of the Labour Party.
Your network, I don't know if it's network that is doing all of this, but I am saying, if you can hear me very well, because I can barely hear you, because I think it's a network, that ever since Aisha Yusufu came out public to render accounts, to say what the money is given, what they have been able to do with the money, Abure has not been able to come out to tender accounts, in which I've even called him out. Let us even do this for the sake of letting people know what their monies were used for. But Abure has not deemed it fit to render such accounts to the people that donated their 1 naira, that's 1,000 naira. He has not been able to do that. So the onion is now on Abure to come out and render such accounts to the public, because people deserve to know what their monies were used for.
All right. For the benefit of our viewers, let's take a listen to some of the things that Mr. Arabambi said when we had him on the program a few days ago. And we'll come back to get some of your thoughts on the other issues.
I am on national TV. Obi became a president candidate, and everything he does in that party is to the tune of 32 million naira. 32 million naira.
Million or billion?
32 million.
Like the money he spent
for his, nomination, from which the party now gave all the delegates money that day. He was not the only one that paid. We have a young nurse, Faduri Joseph, who also made payment. Dr. Padi told me, made a payment, and one other woman. He came, I know, they were asked to step down for him, which they did. But no one had transpired. Everybody know that acronyms with Labour Party. We know they spend shishi. No Kobo or Peter Obi came into Labour Party. To any of our candidates, you can ask them. No Kobo, I know the number of meetings we did. He did not support the party or the candidate, not even at the ward with 1 Kobo. But this is what he did. As at the time, there was an issue between Apapa and Julius Abure. They went to US. They went to Indonesia with him, and they raised money. But you see, just like I said, I never believe, anybody can carry me as a mugu. Honestly, the money came. The party did not know. They went to open an account. That was why you see Aisha Yusufu making all this noise about Peter Obi. Aisha Yusufu and Itwai Godalo, they were the 2 people that superintended over the party finances without.
Mr. Parr, over to you now.
I think I've listened to that interview before now, because while you played it, I couldn't hear. Maybe it must be the network. But I remember from what I saw of that interview was Arabambi talking about the donations that Mr. Peter Obi made only 32 million naira commitment to the party, which I've been able to clear that is not true. And again, there is a statutory amount fixed for you to be able to obtain your form, and which Mr. Peter Obi also met up with, and he also was able to also help the party with some programs which we could not literally was able to organize on our own. So there were a lot of commitments financially that Mr. Peter Obi rendered to the party. Mr. Arabambi cannot speak in this regard because he has never had any dealings with finances of the Labour Party. So I don't know why he will be the one to come out to be talking about issue of finances when it does not concern him. So he doesn't have any right to talk about the issue of finances. And again, I think from the interview, at least I watched of him, he was talking about people stepping down Mr. P2B to clinch onto the ticket. I want to challenge anyone who has said that he was once an aspirant of the Labour Party to contest for such a position, to come out claim publicly to show the public what financial commitment they made to the party to even start naming themselves as aspirant of the party. As far as I'm concerned, Mr. P2B was the only person that contested, that showed interest to contest for the Labour Party. So anyone claiming whatsoever should come out to show us the particular account in which they paid whatever thing they said they paid to the Labour Party. Let us even see who is lying, or let us even see if those people maybe like might have paid it's some person's financial some person's private account, right, for people to not be making claims that they made attempts of even becoming an aspirant in the first place. So Mr. P2B was the only person known to me as an aspirant as at that time.
Well, he also referred to a certain nurse that picked up the form. But first, let's get this clear. From what period to what period were you the treasurer of the Labour Party?
So what?
How long were you the treasurer of Labour Party? From when to when? Okay,
yes, I came on board on the 14th of October 2024, and our tenure got extended before we now finally had another convention in 2019, which was also supposed to have elapsed in 2023, but because we were in and out of court, we now also went to Asaba to ask for an extension by 1 year, which came to an end. Everything came to an end on the 8th of June of 2023.
All right.
So our tenure, I've been able to hold that position for 2 terms. So whenever I talk about issue of money, though I was deprived of doing my work, I can speak from a place of authority because I know the number of persons that contested. I know how much was for each form. So I know the number of persons that came to show interest. So though I wasn't allowed to see the account, but I know a lot of persons were given forms. So that is why I can speak authoritatively to say that monies that came to the party were stolen, were diverted, as signatures were forged, signature of the late chairman of our great party that died 2 months before his death. We did not have any money. His signature was forged, was used to steal money for personal interest from that account. So I can speak from a place of authority as the treasurer of the party. So
I imagine you meant to say 2014 and not 2024. Am I correct? Did you mean that
our tenure came to an end?
No, I mean when your tenure started. You said 2024, that it started 2024, but did you mean to say 2014?
No, my first term was on the 14th of October 2014. Okay, maybe that must have been a mix-up.
Oh, yes. Okay, no problem. So now let's get to the other part of it. So you have said, indeed, they had their own account, which did not come to the Labour Party, and you say they have every right to. But now the question that has been raised again is, all of the donations that Mr. Peter Obi has been making, Mr. Arabambi says those monies are not his monies, that the money is the money for the campaign, and by extension, the Labour Party's money.
Okay, anyone that knows Mr. Peter Obi very well knows that like the act of charity is like 5 and 6. It's like the air he breathes. Even before he became the governor of Anambra State, he's been doing charity. Before he even came to declare interest in the Labour Party, he's been doing charity. Mr. Peter Obi does charity. In fact, he prefers to invest a lot in the youth, especially in the education sector. He's been doing a lot of charity. So anybody saying that he's just trying to be a mistake maker, no, it cannot be. I said here again that if anything of such is to happen, that I know that this government would have made a mockery of Mr. Peter Obi, because Mr. Peter Obi has built a name for himself. There's nothing like that. Anybody that is claiming anything, I challenge that person today on national TV that person should bring his or her evidence, or better still, go to the right authority, report this incident, or better still remain silent forever on this issue if he cannot prove his case.
Mrs. Okwara, I imagine you worked closely with Barrister Julius Abure.
Hello?
You worked closely with Mr. Julius Abure.
What?
Did you work closely with Mr. Julius Abure?
She's asking if you worked closely with Mr. Julius Abure.
Mr. Julius Abure?
Like, did you work closely with him? This is one of those days. But let me try it one more time. It looks like your device might need maybe an audio input or something so you can hear us better. But what Bukola is asking is if you worked closely, I don't know if I'm getting the sign language right, but did you work closely with Mr. Julius Abure?
Oh dear. This is a very, very interview critical to understanding the reasons, the issues that seem to be shaping the leadership crisis in the Labour Party, particularly as it has to do with management of funds. Some of those issues may now be coming to the fore, with the revelations, coming through from officials of the party. Of course, from what we heard just days ago from Mr. Abayomi Arabambi, and the clarifications that are coming also from the former National Treasurer of the party. Indeed, to confirm some of these things that we're hearing, we may need to cite close range and a copy of perhaps the audited account of the party, the accounts that reportedly received donations on the one hand from the Julius Abure-led group, and of course the accounts that also received donations for the campaign council of the team of Mr. Peter Obi, the presidential candidate of the party at the time, such that we can understand the reasons for the disaffection and what may have, also pitted the party into, divided rather the party into two groups, one led by Sir Julius Abure and the other led by the interim caretaker chairman, Mrs. Nenadi Usman. And so that's why some of these questions, some of them coming, again repeatedly, are quite important to understanding the issues. We wonder if Mrs. Okpara can hear us now. Hello, can you hear us now? Let's try again.
I can hear you.
So I was asking earlier if you worked closely with Mr. Julius Abure.
If I worked closely with Mr. Julius Abure?
Yes.
Yes, I did as a national treasurer, but unknown to me, a lot of things were going behind my back, because as at that time, I had thought that Mr. Julius Abure, having known where he was coming from, that he wouldn't do the things he did. So I worked closely with him, but unfortunately, I wasn't part of the wrongdoings that happened with the Labour Party's finances. I worked closely with him as national treasurer, and again, we also had the then former secretary of the party who also worked closely with him.
So you were saying earlier that the signature of the late national chairman, I believe Mr. Abdul Salam, was being forged, and some monies were being diverted, but that contradicts with what you have said earlier, that there was no money in the Labour Party when Mr. Peter Obi came, and he in fact bailed out the party on many levels, providing some of your needs, paying the rent.
Yes, when I said that the late national chairman's signature was forged, that was before Mr. Peter. That was during the Anambra Guba election that happened. Monies were paid after the late chairman's death, and 2 months after his death, then we did not have any money in the party's account. 2 months after his death, his signature was forged to steal money from that account. So that was when I said that signatures were forged, I mean that somebody somewhere forged his signature to steal money for his personal reasons, personal gains. So I know what I'm talking when I say that signatures were forged, and then we did not even have money into the party's account. So these people that are trying to paint Mr. Peter Obi's image dark are the ones that are supposed to critically look inward and put themselves of wrongdoings that are trying to paint the person of Mr. Peter Obi.
So you're also saying that Mr. Julius Abure should give account of funds received into the party during the presidential election, that apart from the funds received by the campaign council, right? That's what you said earlier?
Yes, I said that at some point I began to ask questions, and I was like, let's tell the public, because I use my face to make video requesting for funds for this for the presidential election. So and I thought it wise for us to now call people, to call like a press conference, to tender account, to tell people that this was what their monies were used for. And Julius Abure till tomorrow has not been made fit to bring that to make that come to pass. He has refused. In fact, the audit report that was sent to me to sign, I'm supposed to be part of that audit report, but I wasn't carried along in the making of that audit report. The next thing he did was for him to now bring an audit report to my house, for me to now sign for him, so that it will now look as if I was part of the dealings, the wrong dealings that went through in the party's account. I wasn't even part of the audit report. He just brought it to me. He did it like he worked as if it was his personal office that he was operating from. So I wasn't part of it. And when I now saw that foul play, I said, no, I want to know what happened. I do not want to append my signature on this audit report for tomorrow. So it's not for anything, for the sake of my kids. I want to make a name for my kids.
So you're saying that he took over control of the account from you, and as a result, you cannot tell us how much in total came into that account?
I know by my record, because I know a lot of people purchase the account, the nomination forms. And for you to purchase nomination forms, for us to give you a nomination form, you must have met the requirement. So I know we got over 3.something billion naira from the influx of people that came following Mr. P2B, because if not for Mr. P2B, where would we have gotten that kind of money? Nobody knew Labour Party. Labour Party at that time had no image. We're trying to launder back our image, to pick up our little pieces from where we kept it from. So because of the influx of the people that followed Mr. P2B, we were able to raise to the tune of 3.something billion naira.
All right. Do you have an idea?
Which account has not been rendered till tomorrow.
Do you have an idea how much Mr. P2B raised on the other side?
Why?
Do you have an idea how much Mr. P2B raised for his own account, his own presidential account?
Okay, I wasn't part of the campaign account. And even when I came public, there was never a time I said that the funds for campaign from campaign accounts got missed. I wasn't part of that campaign account. Right. The one I spoke authoritatively was that of Labour Party, which I, as a treasurer at that time, have every right to speak.
So one more thing.
I believe that Aisha has done justice to anything that has to do with the campaign account.
One final question,
campaign accounts.
Just one final question. Since you have institutional memory, you've been with the Labour Party since 2014. So you were there during the 2015 election when you endorsed Goodluck Jonathan. You were there 2019 election when you had Mohammed Usman Zaki as your presidential candidate, scored 5,000 plus votes then. Of course, you were there 2023. Tell us, in 2019, when Mr. Mohammed Usman Zaki ran for president, did he have his own accounts, and was his own account separate? Did he give money to the party?
Mr. Zaki was not actually like he picked the tickets, but when you see people, if you even check the results of that account of that election, you would see that the results only read that of the APC, the PDP, and some other party that were up there as at that time. So Labour Party candidate was nowhere in the picture. So like I told you, we're trying to launder back our image. Labour Party was nothing before Mr. P2B came. So all this fortune you see us enjoying today is as a result of one man that came.
No, I understand. And again, my question, pardon me, madam, my question, because you said it's normal, so I'm trying to find out what happened in 2019. Was that the same way Mr. Zaki handled his campaign, had a separate account and didn't, mix the accounts with the party or send money?
Did Mr. Zaki campaign? The question should have been, did he campaign? That should have been the question. I want to address this issue, this issue of people saying that Mr. P2B cannot keep to his word of saying that he wants to do 4 terms. It is a lie from the pit of hell. Mr. P2B is a man of integrity. Mr. P2B promised the late Odumegwu Ojukwu that he was never going to hand over mandates given to him from Abuja to another political party. Mr. P2B, as at that time, was the only governor, as at that time, that stayed 8 years playing opposition. He never handed over his mandate to another party. He stayed and handed over to Obiano, the then governor of Abuja again. So people saying that it must be 8 years, it must be this. No, you don't need eternity to do what you want to do. Go to Abia State, check Dr. Alex Chomoti, check what he has been able to do in 2 years. Check this government that we're in today. What have they been able to do for us in Nigeria? Suffering, kidnapping, insecurity, hunger, out of school children. See, it doesn't take eternity for any government that wants to work to really work. It doesn't take that. Yaradua of blessed memory. How many years did he spend in government? Yet we saw his positive impact. All
right, Madam Okwara, you're taking us to another, terrain in the conversation, of course, which is also important, but we must anchor at this point. And this conversation, by the way, has been productive on many levels, but it will also be important, if you can, for you to provide perhaps copies of the accounts of the Labour Party when you were treasurer, such that we can also confirm some of the things that you have said, and will not just be going by your submissions on face value. But we must thank you very much for your time and your contributions on the program. We've been talking with Oluchi Okpara. We're totally out of time.
If you want that to happen, I think Abuja is the right position for him now to write to all our accounts, to write to every bank where our accounts, our finances have been domiciled, for them to bring that record so that you can even look at it. We can also ask Abuja to also ask that account at Sedi Plaza be reactivated, so that people will see that somebody's signature was forged to steal money from the party's accounts.
All right.
So Abuja is the right person to write that and get that
treasurer of the Labour Party, who has joined us on this particular one. Thank you so much for your time on the program.
I'm sorry about the network. It wasn't my making.
And so from here, we head on to our airspace and check with what's happening with the investigation of ValueJet following that air breach that impacted on safety of passengers and of course those on ground as well. So we're talking with an aviation expert. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
Let's talk about that incident that's gotten a lot of people talking that concerns ValueJet and Fuji musician Kwam One. That's K1, the ultimate King Kwasi Ayinde Marshal. We're joined on the program, as you can see, by Mr. Olumide Onwayo, who is an aviation expert, to basically walk us through what we're seeing play out. Welcome to the program, Mr. Onwayo. I know that this is an issue you've been following ever since it happened on August 5th. It just came like a bolt. Nobody saw it coming. But videos have since emerged that seem to depict the moment that the plane was about to take off, what exactly transpired. But this goes back to what played out even during check-in and boarding and all of that. You have followed this whole story, and I want you to break it down for us, what the rules say and what the implications are from the passenger and, of course, the pilots.
Can I take that question again?
I'm asking you to basically walk us through from the side of the passenger and the pilots. What does the rule, the aviation procedure, what does it say about the conduct of the passenger, and of course what the pilots are meant to do, or the crew members are meant to do in situations like that?
Well, if I get you right, you said the passenger.
Okay,
I'll just take that question.
I'll try it again. No, it's okay. So we've seen what played out. We've seen the video, but I'm asking you to walk us through.
Yes, I've seen the video, yes.
Yes, you walk us through that whole event from your own angle and what the rules say.
Yeah, I've seen the video, and I think I've seen the statement of the Civil Aviation Authority. Can you hear me?
Yes, please, go ahead.
Yes, and I've seen the statement of the Civil Aviation Authority. From that video and the statement of the authority and the airline itself, they all accepted that there was a breach of the pre-departure protocol, clearance protocols there by the pilots, and like I said, the preliminary investigation has shown that the
we lost connection momentarily with Mr. Onwayo, but we'll, of course, reconnect with him to give us better insight into what is expected. But let's just tell you that from the reports that we have, it's been said that, okay, I understand Mr. Onwayo is back. Please go ahead, Mr. Onwayo. You can land on the point you were making, Mr. Onwayo. Well, maybe you should try this out.
Well, Mr. Onwayo, can you hear me now? Mr. Onwayo, can you hear us? Okay, I'm going to try this again from my own end and hope that it gets through to you seamlessly. We want to find out what the protocol really should be during clearance checks at the airport before you get to the waiting area, such that we can understand, the circumstances surrounding the incident, that spoke to the breach by the alleged breach now by the Fuji musician K1 The Ultimate. All right. While we fix that, this particular, trending video got a lot of talking points in the last 12 hours on social media, with many saying that besides the investigation being carried out by the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria, that, the relevant punitive sections, of air travel should be invoked as well to ensure that the breach, if found to be true by the musician, should also attract some form of sanctions, that he should be banned from airlines for a certain period. That was part of the conversation. But before he even got to that point, which would be my concern, Kadi, there are standard clearance protocols, not just at the international wing of the airport, but also at local wings, where your personal luggage is checked, and where there is liquid that you're carrying, you are asked to dispose of it, or it's taken from you, or you're asked to consume whatever liquid it is before you board. So how did he get through all of that with the substance that he was carrying, the liquid substance? Because this is definitely not a check-in area, Kaidi, from what we see in the trending video.
Indeed.
And if I'm not mistaken, he's the one in brown that was avoiding the oncoming aircraft. Am I correct?
It appears to be.
Appears to be.
Mr. Onwayo, can you hear us now? I doubt he can. But yes, the NCA had put out a statement indicating the suspension of the pilots. In fact, the video which you're seeing was attached to the NCA's statement, which was put on X, saying that the NCA views this incident with utmost seriousness. But the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria tried to give a detailed account of what exactly happened, saying that preliminary investigations confirmed that the passenger was scheduled to board the morning flight to Lagos, operated by Value Jets Airlines. That's flight VK201. And it says that during boarding, the passenger attempted to carry an unidentified liquid substance on board, despite repeated warnings from aviation security, that's AVSEC personnel, and the flight captain. Goes on to say, in accordance with international aviation security standards, specifically Nigeria's National Civil Aviation Security Program and ICAO Annex 17, liquids exceeding 100 mils are not permitted through security screening. They said the passenger was informed of this regulation, but reportedly declined to comply. Mr. Onwayo, we were just going through that statement, but I know you were making a point earlier on, so please land on that point.
Yeah, I said there was a breach of the pre-departure clearance protocols. That was what the NCA report said, and that the action of the captain was reckless and it endangered lives of ground staff and airport users, and it was not in line with civil aviation regulations and international standards. And the airline itself also accepted that the preliminary investigation and said they were also looking into it and will revert back to the agency. But most importantly, the pilots that who operated that flight are suspended for now.
But let's go all the way back, Mr. Onwayo, because this didn't just happen in the aircraft. It started from pre-boarding. And Bukola was saying earlier on that if you're carrying any liquid, you are told to dispose of it, consume it during, the usual checks. So, first of all, let's speak to that one. A ball was dropped there. Am I correct?
I think I have issues with the press release from FAN. There's so many loops there that they still need that would need to get. Now, if you have the screening machine, the checks, the security check before it gets to the aircraft. So what happened? How did it cross that check to get to the aircraft with that flags and the content? How did it cross? Then at what point did the captain intervene on board the aircraft? And when the captain intervened and he took the drink and threw that at the face of one of the aviation security personnel, he had pushed one of the civil aviation law there, and that was unruly. At that point, he should have been arrested. Again, when he was deported from the aircraft, he was supposed to be taken away. Because when you are deported, you're already supposed to be taken away from the aircraft and from the airside. So what was this doing there? At the time the aircraft was ready to leave, what was he doing on the tarmac?
So, Mr. Onwayo, at that level, at the pre-boarding level cited by Kadi earlier on, doesn't it speak to what seems to be selective treatment of officials at the pre-boarding level? Because if it weren't someone who is, of a celebrity status or a politically exposed person, there wouldn't be a record of dereliction of duty. They would be zealous, in fact, to ask the passenger to drop substances that cannot be permitted to fly. So besides speaking to that, what should be the punitive action that should be meted out on those officials at that level as well?
We have to look inwards and ask for the recording of the incidents, how it crossed the fan checkpoint with his flask and the liquid, how he got to the aircraft, and on getting to the aircraft when it was deported, and what was he still doing on the airside and on the tarmac? Again, you're right, because it's something that we've been dealing with in the industry. That preferential treatment given to VIPs, whereby they bypass some of the safety protocols. Remember, sometime like it was Senator Oshiomhole, and till today we have not seen the report of the investigation that was ordered by the Honorable Minister. I personally know nothing was going to come out of it because that's high-value political person. So if he could hold on to the entry of the terminal at the local airport, so what should the next VIP do? I think that this mistrust to the president needs to be shown that example that there's nobody above the law. You did that. You now went ahead to spill the drink on the security official that came to pick you, and the next thing you refuse to leave in front of the aircraft. I don't think we should deal with the airline and the pilots. And I'm not saying they should be exonerated, but I think the offender needs to get punished, and those who are allowed to breach that the civil aviation protocols also need to tell us what happened.
The statement goes on to say, at this juncture, that's after the flight captain intervened but faced similar resistance, and after confirming that boarding was complete, she instructed the closure of the aircraft door. And at this juncture, the passenger moved to the front of the aircraft and refused to leave the area despite repeated requests. He was ultimately escorted away. Of course, the statement skips the plane taking off and then people having to dock. What is the protocol for takeoff? What are the things that should have been done? Should the aircraft have waited for him to have been evacuated? Some said it was a security breach. The pilot was maybe worried and then had to just take that. So what was meant to have been done before takeoff?
Well, you see, for me, let me say that when it was deported, it was at that point that AFCC would have taken over by taking him out of the vicinity of that aircraft and from the air side. It was no more a passenger and had no right to be on that tarmac anymore. At the moment it was deported, it would have been moved swiftly by the security personnel. But you see, going back to your question, there are so many protocols that the pilots need to go through before takeoff. And not include this filing its flight plan, getting weather reports, getting the ground staff reports, load sheets from the loaders, clearance that all allied equipments used in preparing the aircraft have been moved, and the aircraft was safe to move. You know, also even within the cabin. But since the Penal report says ground personnel and airport users, it shows was an external issue that was breached. So it's the clearance to show that the aircraft was now fit to move without any obstruction was there. And I think that should be the area that needs to be addressed. And I think that's where the pilot might be finding wanting.
Is it curious that the pilots have been punished, but there's been no word in that sense concerning the passenger? What are the options available?
Well, they were quick to announce the punishment of the pilot. I also think that we also have heard that the passenger himself would have been taken to court this morning. And being the mistral to the Mr. President does not give you the authority to break the protocols and be above the law. You know, so I think the passenger, they said the passenger was released immediately. I thought they should have been taken to the court there and start the process of prosecuting him.
You know, just a lot to unravel from this, and I really hope that this is handled properly, because there's the action, there's a reaction that then has a ripple effect. Sadly, it could have caused a bigger issue, but thankfully that didn't happen. But we have to thank you so much. I'm glad we were able to have this conversation in spite of the challenges. Mr. Olumide.
Like you said in the beginning, I think it's very important that we ensure that the civil aviation regulations and rules are for everyone, irrespective of your status. Indeed. If you want to be bigger than the law, then you get a private jet and fly at a comfort without so much through all this process. But then we have to ensure the rules are the rule.
Indeed. And even if you get a private jet, there are still protocols to follow. Mr. Olumide Omayo, aviation expert, thank you so much for your time. Well, we'll take a quick break now. This is a matter that we're still paying attention to see how things pan out. But when we return, we'll talk about Rivers State politics. August the 30th is the date set for local government elections, but a lot to unravel. So please stay with us. We have Mr. Epelle joining us at the moment. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. So let's touch on a bit of more politics now, this time in Rivers State. And this is especially important ahead of the August 30 local government elections, for which many have expressed concern about, particularly about the legality of the elections, following, of course, the declaration of a state of emergency in that state, the appointment of a sole administrator, which was gazetted by the president. And, you know, the conduct of the sole administrator, for which many have spoken to as illegal, the dissolution of boards, and subsequent actions of the reconstitution of the State Independent Electoral Commission. Now, candidates are emerging for the elections, some of which have been identified as loyal to FCT Minister Nyesom Wike. Let's look at the implications of all of this as we have joining us on the program this morning. Mr. Jack Epelle is the CEO, TAF Africa. He joins us virtually from Lagos. And by the way, of course, Mr. Epelle is also from River State. It's important to add that bit to the conversation as well. Thank you for joining us on the program, sir.
Hi, Bukola. Good morning. Good morning. It's great to be here.
What would be, a good place to start would be the position expressed by Mr. Nyesom Wike about the coming local government elections, which he said has cited as legal within the ambits of the law. And he has in fact explained that the Emergency Act of 1961, particularly Section 3, grants the Governor General and later the President the powers to suspend or modify certain laws during a state of emergency. And he has said that those who are expressing opinions to the effect that the local government elections are illegal should go to court, and that the law is not determined by public commentary but courtroom advocacy. How do you, weigh in on this position held by Minister Nyesom Wike?
Well, Bukola, I'm not a lawyer, and Minister Wike is, but this time I don't think I haven't seen him in the court before. I don't trust his interpretation of the law. I don't think he's a practicing lawyer and had never won any case of judging the legality or illegality of the process, but that's not where I'm going. Everything about this election has failed. It has failed the legality test. It has failed the morality test. It has failed the test of common sense. And I think what we're seeing that is about to play out in River State is epic movie, maybe part 3. And it is very unfortunate that it's scripted in Abuja, shot in Aso Rock and in the bedroom of Minister Wike. And unfortunately, that's what we get when there is no true democratic process. This whole thing is laughable, and I'm very pained because it is the people of River State that suffers the most. It's our resources that has been depleted and siphoned and put in the pockets. It's our democracy that is being trampled upon and joked with. The whole thing is a melodramatic revelation, and unfortunately, the theater where this epic drama or movie will be unveiled is River State. We deserve better. We deserve better. I don't trust the interpretation of Minister Wike. He's never been a practicing lawyer, and his opinion is nothing to write home about. I'm sorry.
And since we're speaking law, Mr. Epelle, how much of this do you think should be tested at the court? And is that something you'll advise aggrieved parties to do? Is that something you have faith in? Because people have said, okay, how about we go to court on this one? So is that something you're also advising that the aggrieved parties explore?
Well, currently I have very little faith in the judicial processes and the judiciary herself, being that sometimes these judges are bought over. Not all of them. There are still some fine judges. There are still very good people in the judiciary that wants to do the right thing. But sometimes they are cordoned and barricaded by the powers that be. And so the idea of anybody saying go to court, which has become the mantra of politicians and a way of escape for them to do whatever they like and then go over and buy off the judges, threaten their life, make life uncomfortable sometimes for them, just for them to get solo judgment. And so there is very little faith in the judiciary. And I hope that many of them will come to the rescue. We've seen a situation, Kayode, where the ballot box don't count, but the judiciary manipulation, distortion of judicial structure would be the one that would decide an election. So the judiciary have become a very secret, dependent electoral body in this country. So we find out that, you know, when politicians know that they can win at the polls, they make sure that they win at the polls of the judiciary, at the corridor of justice. This is a total aberration and weakens the confidence that, if there is at all, that we have in the justice as the final rescue mission for the common people. So the idea of telling somebody go to court puts the question mark. Why do you want us to go to court? Because you know that what you're doing is illegal. And when we go to court, you will buy over the judges and twist the law to favor you. So the judiciary is becoming the rubber stamp of illegality of these politicians. And it's very, very unfortunate that the judiciary that's supposed to rescue the law, interpret the law, ensure that precedents are not broken, have become the final hopelessness of the people.
Yeah, well, we expect, you know, significant developments to come through from that space, following consistent concerns expressed about multiple interpretations to court judgments and, you know, parts of the Constitution, as it has to do particularly with elections. But one of the things that is coming through from Rivers State is that candidates loyal to Minister Nyesom Wike have emerged as, you know, key participants in the coming local government elections. And curiously so, according to reports, some from the PDP and some from the APC. Should we view this with innocence or suspicion? And is this part of the peace process that was initiated by Mr. President and, of course, you know, shown to the public as the end of the crisis in Rivers State?
Bukola, this is a very intelligent question, but let me say to you, this emergence is just orchestrated. They were submerged or hidden by them, only for them to emerge right now. And the mixture of PDP, APC candidates is just is like a mixture of a concoction that is going to be served to these to innocent people of River State. There's nothing good about what they are doing. They know what they are doing. They try to embellish their act to make it look like a peaceful Jews, but nothing that they've done. The mixture of the PDP people is just to cover their traps. So don't believe in that. Don't trust that. Everything that they're trying to do is to make it look good. You can't make a bad apple look good. It's not going to happen. If the cover looks as though it's an edible apple, when you bite, you will discover that it's absolutely rotten. This is a bunch of bad apples that they are trying to sell to us. It doesn't matter if they have 2-3 PDP people just to show, those guys are not PDP actually. They are APC people portraying themselves, parading themselves as PDP. PDP itself is trying to raise her head above water. It's been totally, absolutely hijacked. And so there's nothing this embellishment of a sort would portray in any way, But then again, this is a national television. And please permit me to address the good people of River State. I don't believe we should take the streets because at the end of the day, they will deploy their machineries, they will deploy the soldiers, you will be shot, and their children are at home, and they are at home watching on television. This is not the time for you to take the law by to be unlawful in any sort. Let's trust divine intervention. Let's trust judicial intervention if that will happen. But everything about this election have failed the integrity test. I don't even know and believe how inclusive this election will be, since nobody is even talking about the inclusivity component, and they have nothing to activate the inclusivity component. Since this administrator that I can jolly well describe as animator, since he's been there, he has never done anything for persons with disability. I went to Port Harcourt and I conducted a focus group of persons with disability, and I wanted to know from them if they've been contacted, if they have been asked to know their opinion, if IBAS has appointed a person with disability to advise him. Nothing of sort. I took time out to plead that he should meet with them. I wasn't prepared to meet with him because he's absolutely illegal, and I cannot be seen endorsing illegality. So that said, this whole local government election looks to me laughable. It looks to me something that they know if a smart lawyer meets a smart judge, he would throw it out from the window. Bukola, I just hope I answered your question.
That's a very valid point. And as we wind down, I want you to speak to this. What do you think is at play here? What do you think the coming weeks hold for Rivers State and Rivers people? Because we're entering the 5th month. We're already in the 5th month of state of emergency, and well, the interim administrator, or let's just say the administrator in Rivers State. So what do you sense is at play here? Because we're seeing the list of people vying for the local government elections. We're seeing the APC members who were in the PDP or who are allied. You've seen that list, right? A lot of them aligned with the FCT minister, but they are APC candidates. So what do you sense is at play? Do you think this state of emergency will go beyond 6 months? What do you suspect here?
Victor, again, that's why we're good friends. You're cerebral. But let me put it in perspective. They are trying to make a bad process and a bad product look good. What is at play? It's our resources that is at play. This is just an opportunity to siphon our resources. What is at play is our democracy that is at play. This is a properly scripted but played out drama that you'll find a situation where those who have been loyal to the FCT minister, those who are loyal to the dictates of what this administration wants to do, have been compensated and rewarded with an office that they don't have both the intellectual and the moral authority to run. And I'm very, very, very careful choosing the words that I use. They don't want to lead the people. They don't want to work for the people. They want to work for themselves. Go back to their track record and see the kind of resources that they have siphoned and pocketed, and nobody's asking them anything. They're not questionable. You can't ask for transparency in what they have done. I challenge many of them, and some of them are my good friends, distant friends, per se, acquaintance, I'll say. I challenge you to publish the accounts of the past local government administration that you have been the chairman. I challenge you to publish the things you've been able to achieve, what your legacies are.
One might ask what the position or the thinking of Rivers people is amid all of this, but it's clearly an ongoing conversation we must anchor at this point. Mr. Jake Epelle is the CEO of TAF Africa and, of course, is also a Rivers son of the soil. Thank you so much for your time on the program.
Thank you, Bukola. Thank you for Channel Television standing for what is right. You ask very tough questions and demanding very tough answers. And I think this morning I have done justice to that. Remember, politicians, you will be judged by what you do. You are remembered for two things: the problem you caused or the problem you solve. Please be remembered for the problem you solve. The Rivers people do not in any way do anything other than following due process and being peaceful. We will win.
Yeah, fine place to anchor it. Thank you so much, Mr. Epelle.
Indeed. Good to see Mr. Jake Epelle again. But let's tell you that WAEC's portal is experiencing some technical issues. So that's WAEC Nigeria now putting up that statement, informing the general public that the result checker portal is temporarily shut down due to technical issues. However, it says the council is working to ensure that candidates are able to access their results in the next 24 hours. Is this jumble over again, you wonder?
We certainly hope not, but if we went by some of the reactions to the release of the results on the verified X account of WAEC, some of the students have been experiencing, concern about not being able to access the portal. So perhaps this is important to have come at this time with, of course, a resolve to rectify it such that this would not be another jam.
Particularly with the English examination and the result. But that's where we draw the curtains on the show today. Thank you for being a part of it. I'm Kayode Okikulu.
Sunrise Daily is up next. The team is standing by to bring you a very rich conversation. I am Bukola Koka.